She get upset about your actions. You get upset about her reaction to your action. That's not love. That's manipulation.
Here's something every man needs to hear. She thought you'd never actually walk away. She believed that no matter how many times she tested you, disrespected your efforts, or treated your loyalty like it was optional, you'd always be there, waiting, hurting, hoping for scraps of her attention. But something shifted. You got tired of explaining your worth to someone who never saw it. You realized that begging for basic respect was destroying your soul. And when you finally walked away, it shattered everything she thought she knew about control. This isn't about revenge. It's about reclaiming your power. Because when a woman doesn't value you, there's only one response that truly matters: complete indifference to her games. Comment below right now if you choose peace over drama, because by the end of this video, you'll understand why your silence is the most powerful weapon you possess. The first thing that destroys her is your complete emotional unavailability. She expected chaos when you left. Drama. Late-night phone calls filled with desperation. Instead, you gave her nothing. Radio silence. Your phone stopped buzzing with endless explanations. Your social media went quiet. No emotional posts about heartbreak. No subtle hints or passive-aggressive messages. Just emptiness where your reactions used to live. This terrifies her because she built her identity around being the center of your emotional universe. Every argument, every makeup session, every cycle of push and pull revolved around her ability to trigger your emotions.
Silence is the best answer to someone who doesn't value your words. My silence is so different. My silence is, I'm tired of fighting.
But when you remove yourself from that game entirely, she loses all her power. You're not playing hard to get. You're genuinely unavailable. There's a massive difference. One is strategy, the other is evolution. You've outgrown the need for her validation, and that growth is permanent. She starts checking your stories obsessively, looking for clues about your emotional state. But there's nothing to decode. You're building yourself in silence while she's stuck analyzing the ghost of who you used to be. The second brutal reality is how your indifference kills her sense of control. She used to predict every move you'd make, your apologies, your attempts to fix things, your desperate texts at 2 a.m. But now there's only distance. And that distance eats at her soul because the man who once orbited her world now has his own gravitational pull. You don't chase closure anymore. You create new beginnings. You ignore her attempts to bait you back into old patterns, not out of spite, but because you genuinely don't see her as relevant to your future anymore. She tests your resolve with manufactured emergencies, fake crises designed to pull you back into her web. But you don't bite because you've learned that emotional manipulation is just another form of abuse. And you're done being anyone's emotional yo-yo. Every unanswered message chips away at the illusion she once had of control. For the first time in your relationship, she's invisible to the man who once treated her like the center of the universe. That shift from being worshipped to being ignored feels like rejection from reality itself. She starts questioning everything: her beauty, her influence, her choices. Because if you can be this indifferent to her presence, maybe she never had the power she thought she did. Maybe she just had access, and that access is gone forever. The third thing that breaks her is your genuine detachment from outcomes. She assumed you'd chase forever, that every time she pulled away, you'd step closer, that your need for her attention was unlimited. But this time you didn't follow. You walked away quietly, decisively, not because you wanted to hurt her, but because the version of yourself who needed her validation no longer exists. Your detachment isn't a tactic you learned from some dating guru. It's your truth. You've sat with your pain, confronted your need for approval, and broken free from the prison of emotional dependency.
You broke her. Think about that. She wasn't just any woman. She was sent to you as a gift, blessing, a test to see how you would treat her. She was the one that was supposed to heal you.
This scares her because she realizes she doesn't live in your thoughts anymore. She used to control your mood with a single text. Now your peace exists independently of her behavior. You've stepped out of the emotional cycle where you explain yourself endlessly, apologize for existing, and beg to be seen. That version of yourself has been permanently retired. Your detachment comes from real growth, from heartbreak that taught you self-respect. She can sense its authenticity, and that's what makes it so devastating. This isn't temporary. You've genuinely moved on to someone deeper, a version of yourself who demands nothing less than mutual respect and effort. The fourth reality that haunts her is how you stopped explaining yourself entirely. You used to justify everything. Why you cared so much. Why you stayed when others would have left. Why you tried so hard to make things work. But now you say less and accomplish more. You let your actions communicate what your words used to whisper. When she asks why you've changed, you don't answer. Not because you're hiding something, but because you've grown past the need for her understanding. You stop explaining because you've realized she never truly listened. She heard what served her narrative and ignored the rest. Your love was something she used to test her power, not something she treasured. You don't explain your boundaries anymore. You simply live them. You don't explain your distance. You embody it. You stop negotiating with someone who never intended to meet you halfway. When she finally tries to understand what happened,
So you're telling me that you love me, but you repeatedly do things that I avoid making her.
only silence remains. She looks back and sees all the moments you tried to connect, all the effort you invested, all the loyalty you demonstrated. But it's too late. You're no longer available for emotional debates with people who lack the depth to appreciate your truth. The silence isn't cruelty, it's clarity. You've realized that explanations are currency, and you've been overspending on someone who never had the capacity to invest back. Your new language is action without explanation, and she can't speak it because she's still trapped in the old patterns of manipulation and control. The fifth thing that destroys her is witnessing your genuine happiness without her. You used to think your joy depended on her smile, her presence, her attention. If she replied quickly, you felt validated. If she disappeared, you fell apart. But now something fundamental has shifted. You wake up with clarity and purpose. You're building your body, expanding your mind, pursuing your goals. You've discovered joy in discipline, in choosing yourself over accepting breadcrumbs from someone else's table. This kind of peace becomes a mirror she can't stand to look into. She realizes you didn't just survive without her, you thrived. You're not performing happiness for social media. You're genuinely content with the life you've built. She sees your gym progress, your business victories.
You know what really hurts? When you talk to someone for days and have the best conversations with them, even if it was just small talk that made your whole day. And one day, they just act like you don't even exist, and you're left trying to figure out what you did wrong.
Your moments of authentic joy that you no longer filter through her approval. You've become someone who doesn't need external love to feel alive internally. That transformation hits deeper than any argument ever could, because it's proof that you've changed the entire game. You've rewired your mind to understand that love should never be a negotiation of worth. While she scrolls through old memories, you're creating new experiences, unbothered by her absence, unapologetic about your growth, unavailable to anyone who doesn't bring equal value to your life. Your happiness without her isn't just peace. It's evidence that she never held the power she thought she did. She had temporary access to someone who hadn't yet learned his worth. That access is permanently revoked. The sixth devastating blow is how you level up in complete silence. She expected your pain to be loud and public, emotional social media posts, desperate attempts to get her back, evidence that you were suffering without her presence. Instead, you vanished into construction mode. You started building yourself quietly, not to impress anyone, but to become the man you always had the potential to be. You hit the gym not to make her jealous, but to rebuild your discipline. You read books not to show off your intelligence, but to upgrade your mindset. You don't broadcast your revenge. You live it through consistent self-improvement. Your success becomes the echo of the pain she caused, but it's not fueled by bitterness. It's powered by focus and determination to never again accept less than you deserve. She scrolls through your profiles and sees nothing dramatic. No sadness. No bitterness. Just quiet strength and steady progress. That mystery destroys her ego because she can't insert herself into your narrative anymore. You didn't build a better life for her to admire. You built one where she simply doesn't exist. That silence hits harder than any status update ever could. The seventh principle that breaks her spirit is your complete lack of reaction to her provocations. She expects emotional responses. Every subtle dig, every strategic post, every manufactured crisis is designed to trigger you back into the old patterns. But when you don't react, when you scroll past her attempts at manipulation, when your energy remains grounded and focused on your own goals, her power dissolves completely. No reaction isn't weakness. It's self-command. It's choosing peace over performance. You've learned that not everything deserves your energy, and her games definitely don't make the cut. Your silence becomes strategy. Your calmness isn't confusion, it's clarity. You no longer need to win arguments because your life has become proof of everything she overlooked about your potential. Finally, the eighth and most devastating reality is how you replaced her with something she can't compete against: inner peace. She thought you'd seek revenge through another Ree,